Senator Vance. Katrina Kaufman from CBS News. So your campaign has received a number of endorsements from the Muslim community, including on Saturday in Michigan. But last night, Rudy Giuliani made some disparaging comments about Palestinians, saying that Hamas is training 2-year-olds to kill Americans. What is your response to those?
Well, first, I mean, the implication is that Muslim Americans are defending the tactics of Hamas. That's sort of the implication of your question. I don't buy that for a second. I think there are a lot of Muslim Americans who may disagree with, certain policies of the Trump administration. They may disagree with certain policies of Israel, for example. But most Muslim Americans, like most Americans, I believe, are good people who want to live in a safe and secure and prosperous country. And they can disagree. Look, we can disagree on issues, but I just don't buy the idea that Muslim Americans are sitting out there thinking, well, we're super pro-Hamas. I think that the reason they're coming behind Donald J. Trump, and it's interesting, because I think for the first time in this country's long history, of course, the Middle East has been a basket case for 50 years. I think you can make a really good argument that whether you're a Jewish American who's very pro-Israel, and to be clear, I'm a pro-Israel guy, or whether you're a Muslim American who doesn't always agree with Israel, Donald Trump is actually the best candidate for both of those two camps. And why is that? Because Donald Trump is the candidate of peace through strength, and Kamala Harris is the candidate of war and chaos. And just think about this, right? So think about this. Let's just say that Kamala Harris is in a meeting with Netanyahu or whoever the leader of Israel is. She's in a meeting with Netanyahu, and she's in the meeting with, a representative group of the Palestinians. And they say, Kamala Harris, how are you going to help us restore peace to our country? And she says, well, I grew up in a middle-class family. That's not going to work. You need somebody with an ounce of competence. You need somebody who actually has their own developed thoughts about how to solve the country's problems and how to engage diplomatically with the rest of the world. And whether you agree with him all the time or not, Donald J. Trump actually has ideas in his head about how this country ought to be governed. That makes him head and shoulders above the competition. Just that one thing. So let me leave you with this final thought here, and it's very simple. If you think about what this election is about, you don't have to agree with me on every issue. You don't have to agree with Donald J. Trump on every issue, but think about the big tent coalition that we've assembled. On the right, we've got people like Brian Kemp, Nikki Haley. On the left, we've got people like Tulsi Gabbard and Bobby Kennedy. This is the common sense coalition that's ready to take this country in a more positive direction. But it's very simple. Kamala Harris broke it, and Donald Trump will fix it. Think about this. Kamala Harris opened the border. Kamala Harris broke the border, and Donald Trump will fix it by closing it down. Kamala Harris inherited an economy with 1.5% inflation and rapidly rising take-home pay. Kamala Harris broke that, but put Donald Trump back in there and he'll fix it. Speaking of the Middle East, we had peace in Europe. We had a much more peaceful situation in the Middle East. We had peace in East Asia. Kamala Harris broke the world security situation, and Donald J. Trump will fix it. It's very simple.